Well, hi, hello, everyone. Good afternoon. It's Richard Wade. It's 5th of October 24, about 7 o'clock, just coming on 5 to 7. Just got a few minutes spare. I'm going to do a quick rural crime video to pop onto Rural Crime YouTube site. It's really interesting. I've been going through YouTube earlier, and I've been watching old videos, and I'm going to show one in a minute, and just little bits of it. I'll keep this quite brief. So I was thinking, so what was going on 11 years ago, and how does that compare today? And it's really shocking. It's exactly the flipping same. So the criminals are doing exactly the same thing. They're wandering around the countryside and they're looking for weak spots and vulnerabilities in your property or your farm or your estate or rural business. When they see them, they clock that, go away, make a plan, come back and nick all your stuff, sell it, and happy days for the criminals. Make a fortune. They were making a fortune 11 years ago, and they're making even more money now because they're getting away with high tech kit now. And they're also very clever, very well funded, very smart, very organized. And they're using high tech things like drones and other surveillance equipment and techniques to watch you and see how weak and vulnerable your business security is. And on the back of this, I say we need to start thinking about doing something different, because if it's exactly the same picture from 11 years ago, we ain't doing it right. Oh, we need to change something. So maybe we need to consider having a stop and a think and review what we're doing on rural crime prevention, or at least rural crime reduction. So let me play a little bit of this video, and then you can see what was going on. It follows a guy. I won't play it for too long. It follows a guy who was a criminal. They've called him Pete in inverted commas. I'm guessing he wasn't called Pete, but anyway, for us, he's called Pete. And Pete's going to take us through and show us how easy it is to steal stuff and what they look for and how they go about it. Let's stay for about 10 minutes or so. I'll jump in and out and do a bit of narrative as we go. But shall we see? Shall we see what Pete's up to as he goes about his business?
Farms and farmyards, by their very nature, are vulnerable to organised and opportunist crime.
Well, we're a 2,000 acre mixed farm, so we've got we've got 6 tractors, anything from 70 horsepower up to 240 horsepower. We've got a combine and all the machinery and tackle needed to work that farm. This farm, I mean, every day, at the end of the day, the sheds are locked, everything is secure, but at 7 o'clock in the morning, the chaps turn up to work, undo the doors and go off to do their work for the day. They may only be gone for an hour, but will they put a padlock in and lock it up before they come back? I don't think they would, and they tend not to. So there's a problem there with the security. The other problem is that we are actually an industry like any factory or whatever. The difference is a factory actually has got security all the way around the outside and a man with a barrier and gate saying, you have passes to go in.
I'll just stop him there because he's starting to say things that worry me as a guy with an interest in security and crime prevention. So he's actually saying that at night everything's secure and locked away and blah blah blah. Great, well done, the workers. But then in the daytime, the workers come in and they leave everything open. So that means the workers are out doing whatever they're doing and everything's exposed. Well, like the criminals are going to pick up on that, and that might be the time that they come in and nick stuff. And he just said then, in a normal business, we've got security guards and we've got fences and gates and da da da. And he's open and vulnerable. And that's even more reason to start locking your stuff down and putting your stuff away. There's an old argument. I hear it every single week of my life. Yeah, but that takes time. But it's the same time to lock things up that it takes for them to be gone forever and stolen and all the heartache and hassle. So the fact that it adds a bit of time to the day doesn't wash for me. It's a very poor, lazy excuse, in my opinion. Let's see what else he's he's got to say as he goes about his security business there.
It's an open factory that anyone can drive into and at any point, and they can, easy access to everything we do.
Yeah. So if we have a look, walk around, drive around the local area and see what we can see and find. Okay.
Steve Catchpole's observations are backed up by reformed criminal Pete, who used to specialise in earning a living from stealing from farms.
It's just more off chance really, is drive around a different area or even the same area. Just maybe that day they've left the gate open compared to another day. You may have gone past it 3 times in that week. The 4th day you go past it, the gate's open, so you can have a little nose and just see what comes about. Let's look here now, we've got a farm building. Let's have a little look at this. I can't see any exit round the back. It's all of undergrowth, so you won't be able to get in for the back too easy. Just slow down, see what it's about. There's a lorry. Got a man or two there. 735. That seems a bit locked up. There's a bloke here. I'll just keep driving. Just wave to him. Waves back. More chemicals and diesel there.
I love that. I've done that myself. I've actually done that on one of my previous videos, which is still up and out there. I was actually in the process of assessing security on someone's property. None of the workers knew I had permission to be there by the owner, but none of the workers or the farm management knew I was there that day. And there I was, screwing the cap off a fuel tank, and exactly that same thing happened. The guy drove down. He wasn't on foot. He just drove towards me. I thought, whoops, I've been rumbled. And I gave him a good old wave and said, morning. And I got exactly the same back. And he waved and said good morning out of his window, and off he went. And that's the frightening thing, that people don't pay attention. If there's someone random in your farmyard or in your business, they got to be stopped. They got to be questioned in a safe manner, obviously. But the minimum that should happen is that act, that fault, that person who's not meant to be there should be clocked by the worker, and then it be reported to the manager or the supervisor or the owner saying, I've just seen such and such. I gave him a wave, he shouted back, blah, blah, I don't know who he is. Then we can investigate as a pair or 3 of us, go see what's going on, and deter the crime. Deter the crime that's about to be committed. So, yeah, it's having people aware, having people switched on so they don't accept strangers and random people in their property or on your property. Got to be questioned, got to be tackled, got to be made to feel uncomfortable. Even if they're not there for nefarious purposes, they've got to be interrogated in a polite manner. Who are you? What are you doing? Why are you on our land? And they'll come up with all sorts of good excuses to get away from you if they are criminals. But chances of them coming back are now reduced because they know, they're switched on and they're alert and all the rest of it on your property. So let's carry on. Let's play the
easy get. We're getting out. Let's have a look here. See what we got. Look here, we got.
Where items can't be marked or tracked, it's vital that care is taken with their storage.
This is not a thing you take today. You plan it for like 2 or 3 of you and a decent low load of an IAB on it, and just come out and grab as many as you can. You think so you get away with. They're probably 200 or 300 quid a bag. I could probably get 100, 120 quid a bag. It don't take long. How many have we got here? 80, 100 of them. You wouldn't take them all. You take a good quantity of them. If it's £100 each, you can get 100, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You get quite a few grand even if you took 2, 3, 4 grand in a night. It is good money, easy. No one lives here. You're out in the middle of nowhere. There's no real gates. So out of all the gates, none of them are locked. Some even go off back of fields. So you can come off another field into the back and out again. So no one really will spot you easy.
Quad bikes are easy to steal and easy to sell on, and an illegal transaction can mount up to a good day's work for the opportunist thief.
As you see, it's a nice little quad here, all unattended, no one about. As you see, right, the rest of the farm, there's no one about. I don't know why not, it's not out or locked away properly. I can't see any like Caesar or data tag, no markings on it. There's not chained even. They've made it easier because the keys are in it. So, what more could you want? You just jump on it and just drive it straight off at the back of the field. You wouldn't even rush. Someone sees you, you think you're just a worker, you're driving through the field. I'd even have the trailer on it. It's a good trailer. It'd be a good little markup on that as well. Even if I didn't sell it and the person sell it on as a complete quad, they could break to good money. The price of these parts there for the engine, gearbox, tyres, there's just so much.
That's the thief's dream, right there. A quad bike with the keys in the ignition, and a tank of fuel, and a trailer attached to the back of it, so they can load the trailer up with whatever they want as well, and off they go out the back across the fields. And you got, unless you take proactive defensive measures, you're pretty buggered, because they're going to easily get away with those items, as he said there. Note what he was talking about though. So he's identifying the things that you can do to prevent yourself becoming that victim who wakes up in the morning and suddenly goes, hey, all my quad bikes are gone. Oh, so's my chainsaws and my leaf blowers and all my portable tools at the same time, because they've used your trailer to get rid of them. But he identified what the criminal is looking for. And interestingly enough, he was looking for markings. So CSAR, equipment markings and data tags, things that identify the equipment. If they're on that equipment, it means that equipment and that serial number is also going to be on a database somewhere. It makes it harder to move on and sell. Not impossible, but harder. So those items are likely to leave. They're going to go elsewhere. Unmarked equipment, not secured, not chained down with a key and an ignition. Wow, fair game. See you later. And he also mentioned there that he might not sell the whole unit. He might strip it down and sell the tires and the gearbox and the engine and all of those things. So they've really planned it out in advance, and they've got different avenues to market. If they're not selling the entire unit, they're stripping it down and selling it in little bits and spare parts. Interesting with the fertilizer, we'll come back with a low loader and a high ab. They think it through. They're very well resourced, very switched on. They're not in prison, are they? And as I hear often said, there's good reason for that. It's because they're good criminals. A lot of them are very switched on, and so they've got vehicles, they've got high abs, and then they come at the right time, steal 80 to 100 bags of your fertilizer. One night's work, £4,000, 5,000 quid. That's good business for the criminal. And in that remote area, having staked you out and watched you, they know they're not going to get caught. They're not attacking the places where they might get caught, So again, there's a message for us there, isn't there? Let's think about it and let's do something. We're on 12 minutes, so what I'm going to do is just quickly wind this up now. So it's just been a snapshot. That was from 11 years ago. The message today from me is 11 years ago, those criminals were stealing quad bikes, stealing tractors and parts and fertilizer, animals, tools, fuel, fencing supplies, animal feed, whatever it might be. And guess what? Today in 2024, on this very day, the 5th of October, they're out there tonight stealing exactly the same stuff. It's worth more money now because it's high tech. You've got your GPS tracker units and all that kind of stuff. So the booty has gone up in value. They have different markets to get rid of it now. Things are off to the Far East. They're off to Africa. There's a great trade going on in Eastern Europe and Ukraine, and where the wars kicked off and things are harder to come by. There's an actual market developed there for stolen rural goods, tractors and parts and bits of vehicles, that kind of stuff. They need it over there, so there's a market that has developed. And interestingly enough, these criminals are extremely organized and well funded, and they've got awesome chains, logistical chains. They know what they need to steal, and they have a supply chain already worked out. They nick it, they know where it's going, and they know what they're going to make, and it's a lot of money. And last year, according to the well-known rural crime report from the big UK insurance broker, that was around 50 odd million quid. Well, guess what? It was the same last year, and the same the year before, and the year before, and the year before, and the year before. It never changes. It's always around about the 45 to 50 million mark forever. It's always the same. It's always the same kit that gets stolen in the same manner. That says to me, as someone with an interest in rural crime, that we need to change the way we think. So if the criminals have been coming back for the last 11 years doing exactly the same thing, getting exactly the same stuff and getting it away and selling it, we're not learning. We're not learning the lessons, and we need to change our approach. And what we need to do, in my humble opinion, is review our own security. We can't rely on rural police. They do a fantastic job, but there's not enough of them, and they're too remote, and the response times aren't quick enough, and the criminals know that. So police response is limited. You can't rely on things like CCTV. Criminals don't care about that. That is very well documented and researched. And within my course, all of that research and data is referenced. So what we need to do is go back to basics. We need to think like a criminal. What are they looking for? What makes me the attractive option rather than somebody else? So all I need to do is review my security. I suggest we start off by getting everybody trained, maybe put them through our rural crime prevention course. It's a good course. I put my name to it. It's very, very good. Short, punching, no waffle, straightforward. It says, this is the scale of rural crime. This is how they do it. And this is what you need to do about it. It's really straightforward. It guides you through rural crime. And at the end of it, it invites you to do something differently. It invites you to say, right, stop right now. And armed with that information that you've gleaned throughout the course, do something. Go to your business, go to your farm, go to your estate, go to your rural community. Use the checklist and do a full, in-depth, all-in review with nothing missed, warts and all. And it takes you through a load of questions. And at the end of it, you will have identified your vulnerabilities. And armed with that information, it invites you to document them on an action plan, but make it smart, make it measurable. What's wrong? Why am I weak in these areas? And what do I need to do about it? When's my deadline and who's going to do it? If you work your way through that process, get trained, brief your teams, do assessment, do your vulnerability assessment and take action, I guarantee you'll be the person or the farm or the business who is unlikely or less likely, much less likely to become that victim of rural crime. Because like that guy Pete said, as they drive past and they see the gates locked, no keys and ignitions, padlocks, good hinges on gates, doors closed, they can't see what you've got, they're going to move on. They want to come in, nick your stuff and be gone. Don't be that person. I hope that's been of interest to you, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Please feel free, subscribe to our channel, leave a few comments. Maybe you'd like to come on one of our lives at some point. If you have an interest in rural crime, if you're in rural policing, or indeed if you have a business or live in a rural community and you've been a victim of crime, we'd love to hear your story. So that's me, that's Richard Wade saying thank you, and go and check your stuff and lock it up. Stay safe.